You're from Chicago?
Yeah, born and raised. And
And you like Chicago?
no, no,
You don't like Chicago?
no,
How
no.
come?
Because it's a Chicago's the most segregated city I've ever been to ever. So it's like you can go there and it's beautiful, Lakeshore Drive, Michigan, and then you have Chirac. It's the most dangerous place in the world, and that's not why I dislike it. I dislike it because of the geography, the lack of nature. It's just flat. It's concrete, And I lived like 15 miles outside the city, so it's like I'm not a city person. I like room. I like space.
Like here?
Yeah,
Oh, like
absolutely.
the north part of Atlanta.
I like the South.
Okay.
I've lived in like fucking California, Ohio, Chicago, South Beach, Miami.
Oh, a few.
Yeah, Charleston, South Carolina, which I still have a house there, and here and a couple other places.
And this, so far, how is Alpharetta treating you?
I dig it, man, because I just like to be left alone. I don't want any, I feel like with smartphones and technology, we're always in someone's shit.
Yeah.
I just want to, don't be in my shit. I want my space.
Yeah.
And I need my own time to just kind of sit in my backyard, go in the pool, whatever, just, leave me alone.
Yeah, and this is, I really like it here too.
Yeah, man,
and
nice.
when I like where I live, so, because sometimes we go to Buckhead or Midtown for a restaurant.
I hate downtown Atlanta. I hate cities.
And yeah,
right now.
It's just too crowded.
Yeah, and there's crime and shit. Cities used to not have that, reckless crime shit. There's just, people walking around. I don't deal with it well.
Okay, so you have been living in so many different cities and states, but did you go to college?
Are we recording right now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, did I go to college? No, I didn't go to college.
You know what? We have been recording since I was already 15.
No, that's a good move. That's a good move. I like that. It creates real conversation.
Yeah. Did you go to college?
Didn't go to college.
You didn't go to college?
No, I didn't go to college, man. I was in high school. It was always like this. If I applied myself, I could
do anything.
Yes, but no teacher outside of one gave me a reason to apply myself, because I always would say, how is this going to make me money, right? Learning about this or that, and they just weren't good teachers in my estimation. But then I had, let's say, a good teacher, and it's just like, oh. He connected it for me, and I was like, bang, I got all into it. But I always felt like we're going here to be trained for our careers. How is this class and its subject matter going to help me build a career? And as a young kid, I know school is more than that. It's good to be educated. It's good to have knowledge. But I just struggled with school because I couldn't connect the dots.
Okay. Well, I struggled with school a lot, but not because of that.
Yeah.
I was just awful at school. Well, especially when I got here when I was 15, learning that new language, it was a pain for me. Yeah, but here I am. Sure. But anyway, but I thought you went to school because you're really good at designing. I thought you graphic designer. Aren't you or what?
Dude, here's what's crazy is I stopped going to school, right? I started a roofing company when I was 19 with my best friend.
Okay.
That went south because his father owned the company, and his father was like, okay, you're clearly more motivated than my son. I want my son to take it over, but there's no way he's running the business. Here's 25%. And I was like, hell yeah, this is, because I always used to pray. I always used to be like, Jesus, just show me the way, show me the path, just give me a path so I can get myself out of this situation and take care of, my mom and stuff like that. Just give me a path and I'll excel. And so boom, there it was, right? A month later, because of control things, the dad was like, we were running more jobs, we were making more money, but he felt a lack of control. And this is one of the great lessons I learned in business. It's like, just because you're growing things, it doesn't mean that you're going to be welcomed. Because sometimes when you grow things or outperform someone who's been doing it for a long time, you make them feel insecure. And that overpowers the initial, hey, I need you for my son because he ain't going to run this thing. So he just pushed me out. So I was like, damn, I thought I found my way, right? So I got a job in the gym. I used to work out, every day. And
because you said 19, recently graduated from high school or still in high school?
No, I graduated from high school. Yeah, so that was what I did. So then I got a job at the gym, and because somebody told me, like, those dudes up front who are at the desks, some of them make like $100,000, and I was like, what at the gym? And it was
doing what?
So membership sales, personal training sales, like it stacks up, right? So like I was like, damn, let me do this. So I get a job there. I'm making $7 an hour, like working the morning shift, like 6 a.m. to noon, the worst shift. But I was scrappy as fuck, and like within 6 months, I went from the morning to the afternoon to the evening, which is the best shift. And I became the company's called Export Fitness. They're in 10 states. I became the youngest general manager in the history of the company at like 20 years old, and I was at like a base of 80,000. So like at that point, I was on my way. I found my path. You know what I'm saying? And it was not entrepreneurial. I did not own it, but it taught me that like if you are going to be entrepreneurial and you are going to own something, you are blessed if you get the opportunity to work under someone who is and like who's really about it. And the guy, his name was Danny Morrissey, who owned this company, was a fucking animal. He was a set. Like if you came in and you broke every record, he'd be like, "That was great. Now next month I expect 15% on top of that." You understand? And then he would rip you if you didn't do it. But like he always kept you, pushing, right? So like I learned like it's all about. There's nothing else but hitting the number, right? That's not necessarily true.
No, but it's good.
But it's the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean in business it kind of is.
Yeah, because if you don't hit the number, you don't got it. So I then made a very, I don't know if it was a mistake, but like I told you, I tore my pec. I tore my pec in the gym when I was 21. And what had happened is a doctor juiced me up on Percocet, Norco, Vicodin. I had never smoked nothing, a cigarette. I didn't know what that stuff was at this time. This was 20 years ago, right? So like there wasn't education on opioids. I was addicted. I didn't know it, right? So all of a sudden I'm taking these pills that my surgeon gave me after he reattached my pec. And I fell into addiction and I almost died for about 4 years. So I was functioning. I was running the gyms, but they got wind of it and they fired me. Yeah, they fired me, and about a week after that, I overdosed. And
was that a prescription medic?
Yeah, Percocet was what I went to. But when I had the surgery, what I feel is so irresponsible is you have a surgeon, a doctor, who sends a child home with 3 basically bottles of synthetic heroin. That's what it is. Vicodin, oxycodone, and hydrocodone are the compounds, and doesn't warn you, that this stuff.
Yes, he doesn't. You were, for you it was probably what, like Advil for the pain.
That's what I thought. I'm oh yeah, I feel great. Yeah. I want to keep feeling great. I had no clue. But that took that job for me, and then I mean literally it's like we were talking about God, whatever, but it's like I had a moment where I took way too many, and then I was feeling really high. This was right after I got fired, and then I took more, and then I was alone at my house. It was in the evening, and I started like kind of going in and out, and I started vomiting, and I was on my back.
Ooh.
And I was almost in a state of paralysis. I felt like in a dream state, but I was choking and I couldn't move. Like I literally was on my back.
I couldn't even turn sideways.
I didn't know if it was happening or not. It was like, am I dreaming? Am I not?
Wow.
And I'm choking. And then, like dude, it was you don't forget things like this. It was like, God, I'm gonna die. And then I woke up with a split lip, on the floor. My carpet was, full of blood. I cut the shit out of my lip, and I don't know how I got to the floor.
Oh, that's tough.
Literally, it's tough. But
that was right after you were fired. Like
yeah, but dude, what that did for me was wild because I thought it was game over.
You said goodbye. You said I'm coming to
something threw me off that couch.
And that saved you.
100%. I was on my back. I couldn't move.
Wow. And
10 days later, I started my first business.
That's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the business? But did you start working on your addiction or?
So it was so that happened, and I had an amazing aunt who was the head of quality control for M&M Mars, Snickers, all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
And she sat me down and she looked at me. She's like, "Listen, we're gonna get you through this shit, but you gotta look me in the eye and promise no more of these fucking pills." She's like, "We'll wean you off it. Me and your brother will help you, and I'm gonna help you with these other things, but you gotta promise me." Like she did it very matter of fact. Here's what we're gonna do, and I was like, "Yes." It's like they took everything from me, right? They took my job, and they almost took more, and it hit me so hard. It was so like, wow, one person could do that and step up for me and like be there. So she's like, you're so talented, you're so smart. Like, do not let this stuff take this from you.
That helps, right? That
100%.
That especially someone that has a true love for who you
100%. He's
not expecting anything back in return.
No, man, not at all. And I always, so the more we talk, you'll see like how I'm all over the place from a career standpoint, and it's because I'm like a seeker, right? So I immediately started, I always kind of trained mixed martial arts, but I went to like the hardest place I could find, and this guy Keith Hackney, who was in UFC 5, I started training with him, and this dude would fuck me up, and his whole class would just fucking destroy me. But I loved it because you walked out of there and you felt alive, right? I always say like it's so valuable for a man to feel the fear of stepping into combat with another man and then getting your ass kicked and then walking out and being like, I'm okay, like I'll live.
Thank you.
There's something that it does to you. It's like a fear killer. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it is.
It's a fear killer.
But it's not easy.
It's not easy. But,
no way. But I don't think I will be able to do it.
You sharpen your skills, so the connection is the first business I started was a company called MMA Stop, and this was before the UFC blew up. This was in 2005.
What? That was the business you started 10 days ago after the.
Exactly.
Okay.
It was called MMA Stop. MMAstop.com.
MMA Stop.
And Mixed Martial Arts Stop.
Okay.
So it's probably the second or third mixed martial arts online retailer that existed, because I always wanted to buy like cool fight shorts and like different gloves, and it wasn't in one place. You couldn't buy it online. So started that, it started doing really well online, and then we took it to retail, and then we took it to a gym. So we had MMA Stop Fitness, which was a gym with big kids classes. We had a cage, a ring. We had 2 retail stores, and then we had an online component.
And how far did you go with that business?
So I went from 2005, and I sold my portion in 2000 and what was it? 2009 probably.
So 4 years more or less. And why?
So this is the theme you'll see is when, for whatever reason, I'll get an idea and I'll feel like I can do it, right? And then it's a challenge because it's like I've never done it. I don't have experience with it. So I did it, and I got, once I, in my mind, conquered it, but I didn't conquer it, but in my mind I was like, yeah, I got this unlocked. Like there was another opportunity, right? It's like I'm like a serial entrepreneur. So basically, I met a lot of fighters through having this business. I started sponsoring fighters in the UFC as our marketing for the company, and through those relationships, those guys got to trust me because I did little things like pay them on time. And then this guy Clay Guida was like, "Hey man, would you be my manager?" And I was like, I'm not a lawyer, but he's like, no, you're like, I want you to be my manager. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then like 2 months later, this guy, Alan Belcher, all UFC guys, he's like, hey man, would you be my manager? And then like all the way up to like, I built this company called VFD Marketing, and it was a management and marketing agency. And I managed like the Diaz brothers, if you like Nate Diaz, Nick Diaz. Worked with Ronda Rousey. I mean, Cowboy.
So you know them?
Yeah, I was a manager. Yeah.
There, man.
Yeah.
So you know them?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I'm a fan, actually.
Man, like they're exactly what they are on TV. They're the absolute real deal. Like that's what's cool about them is they are.
Okay.
It's not an act. It's not an act, bro.
They're not pretending anything.
Do you know Nick, the older brother?
Yes. I mean, I've seen him.
So the first time I met him, right, we signed a deal. He was fighting Carlos Condit.
Okay.
We're in the MGM Grand, and like him and Condit almost got in a fight at the weigh-ins.
Oh.
And so he's always got a crew. The Diaz brothers always got the Diaz army, and they're going up through the MGM Grand up to Nick's suite, and like. Condit's coming towards the same elevator, and Nick starts, doing what Nick does, and we get in the elevator, we go up, and he literally starts screaming at his crew like, "Why'd you let that motherfucker near me? I'll kill that motherfucker!" Like crazy,
wow.
He had just cut weight, This is after the weigh-ins. So then, like, I'm like, dude, shit, I'm nervous as fuck. I just talked to this guy over the phone, signed him. We met in the gym before, but like this is the first time on like fight night, and I shit you not, he's screaming. I'm standing there like, should I leave? And he sits down at the desk in the suite, and he grabs a fucking watermelon. Like there's this watermelon. I think a lot of guys like fruit after they cut weight. They like the sweet.
Okay, that makes sense.
He puts the watermelon on the table, right? And he sits like this, and like there's another seat at the desk, and I'm kind of walking up, and then he just goes, "Motherfucker!" Bam! And the watermelon explodes because he's so mad at his crew. Explodes all over the room. It gets on his face. It's on my shirt. It's fucking everywhere. And then I like sit down. I shit you not. He does a 180 rotation in his chair, and he's just like, "Nick Diaz, nice to meet you. What's going on?"
No.
I swear on my mother.
And you were
I'm like, dude, here are your fight shorts. Like, we got the sponsors here.
Like nothing happened.
He did a 180 and it was like nothing happened.
And you?
I'm sitting there like, is this motherfucker gonna kill me? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So that was my first time meeting Nick.
Well, that's a good experience.
Yeah.
That's like.
Yeah. So. That's really where I learned the most about business. There was a handful of times where I was, in Dana White's office, negotiating with him, getting, my ass handed to me, and just learning, the tough nature of business. But that's where I really, I kind of excelled. I had that business up until 2015, and I sold it.
Wow. And then you move on to.
So, a big client of the company VFDs was a supplement company called Muscle Farm, and they were, I don't know, probably doing $100 million a year in supplements. And what I would do outside of So we had our fighter management arm, and then we had our marketing arm. And the pitch was basically this: if you're a company coming into the UFC, you don't know how to allocate your money, right? Let's say you have a $500,000 budget, $1 million budget. Should I put it on fighters? Should I put it on the octagon mat? What should I do with it, right? And then what we did was like, give us the money. This is what you do with it, right? And because you could never do it on your own. So we built a very healthy business by saying like, oh, you were going to put your MP on the octagon and call it a day for $1 million. Give me $1 million. I'll put it on 80 fighters, right? And you're going to get, from a TV time standpoint, maybe 100x, right? And I'd go to 80 fighters, and I know what the stuff costs. Front leg, $1,500, whatever. And we'd end up spending 100, 150K on, $1 million, and and they're happy as hell.
And because I don't know how that works, but usually the fighters have a contract with, in this case, with UFC, right? Yeah. But the sponsorship they can have different sponsorships that on their own, or
100%. So this was from 2009 to 2000 and the beginning of 2015, right? And at that time, fighters were allowed to wear sponsorships.
Yeah, I remember the shorts were all, Yep. But and now it's only
you cannot.
It's only whatever sponsorships the UFC.
That's right.
But at the end of when the fight ends, I see I would say probably 100% of the times someone handles them a hat. And they or a T-shirt, and they put it on. Is that also part of the?
That's part of the UFC's what they call outfitting deal, and that's just a sponsor. I think the sponsor currently is Venom, and they pay the UFC X amount of dollars for the rights to have fighters wear their shirts, their shorts. But you're only going to see so you see Crypto.com on UFC fighters, and that's because Crypto.com paid the UFC a shit ton of money. So
they are not allowed to do their own.
No. Nope.
They have the opportunity to work with sponsorships, but only the ones that the UFC lets offers.
So the UFC just and they should. They have all the leverage. They built the business, but so basically what they did was they saw all this cottage industry being built on their TV platform, right? That's what I was doing. And they were like, no. At first what they did is said, okay, there's a sponsorship tax. All right, John, if your company wants to put sponsor A, B, and C on somebody, you have to pay us $100,000 for each sponsor. And then once you pay us the $100,000, then you can put them on people. That's how they started, because they didn't know how to figure it out. And then all of a sudden Reebok came in like 20...
Oh, I remember Reebok. Yeah. Right before or right after the COVID? Right after?
Right after what?
Reebok?
Reebok came in, I think, around 2014.
Oh.
They did a 7-year deal.
Then they actually... When did they leave?
It was a 7-year deal, so...
Okay, so they left right after COVID.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah. And what's funny is Reebok called me in because they excelled in CrossFit. Reebok owned CrossFit, like in terms of their apparel.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, so they thought the UFC was an easy transition.
Oh, okay. I left Reebok left CrossFit. Now that I'm right when the guy who made CrossFit said something about in 2020.
I don't even know.
So that's what I was linking it to. Well, okay, but anyway, sorry.
Oh, no worries. Yeah.
And so what happened with Reebok?
So Reebok was like, shit. We paid $72 million, I believe it was, and we're not seeing any return. And so actually, we connected with them. I went out to their campus. They're like, "What can you do?" I'm like, "You're not seeing a return," because they didn't understand the sport. They thought if they put a pair of shorts and put a fighter's name on it, that people would buy it. I said, "Do you know the market for fight shorts? It's like .001 of the market of a shirt.
Yeah.
Like, and then if you actually train, you don't want to look like a fanboy dork with some other dude's name on your leg. So you got to understand the culture. Like, nobody wants fight shorts of another guy. It doesn't work like that. Like, it's like soccer, right? Like it's more of a soccer deal, right? It's like nobody like is gonna buy the. I don't know a lot about soccer, but it didn't work like that.
Yeah,
like
I see your point. I mean,
Yeah.
and it does make sense, especially on fighters, right? I mean, I don't know.
Well, what worked on fighters amazingly is the company Affliction, which is flamed out. That they did it the right way. They made fighter exclusive walkout shirts for events, and they'd hype the shit out of them. And they became a 9-figure company really quick doing that, because each fighter, when you flatten out what they wear and everyone wears the same thing, you take away their personality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And fans buy personality. And so it was a failure because Reebok didn't do their homework.
So that's why they left.
Yeah.
Because they didn't see much in return.
No, they didn't know how to make money on it.
But you saw that, or you left that there into 2015. Or
Yeah, 2015. And I brought up Muscle Farm because they were a great client, and the co-founder, he exited from Muscle Farm, which was a public company at that time, and I was like his right hand for marketing, and he's like, Johnny, let's start a supplement company. I got all the distribution, I got all this stuff, and I was like, cool, I'll put together the branding and we did. We started Max Effort Muscle. It's still alive and well today, although I think they've done a terrible job after I left of the branding. But built Max Effort Muscle, and I sold that in like 2021.
Oh, just recently, because it feels, I don't know, for some reason, every time I think about COVID, it feels like yesterday, but it's been 5 years.
I know.
I mean, we are at the same distance in year terms to from 2030 to
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you sold that you're part of the company in 2021, and then you started where you are now?
No, I started a company called CBD Social. So CBD, so as someone who was addicted to painkillers, CBD, like before it got into all these stupid strains of THC, it was actually very effective for people who trying to get off like opioids, and there's all these physical benefits. So I really dug into like, hey, how do you source this stuff? Long story short, 6 months before I sold out of Max Effort, we introduced a line of CBD, and number one, the margins were absolutely like stunning. There was so much money to be made at that moment in time, and two, it was really good stuff. Like, there's people who call me today like, dude, I need that pain. Like, CBD works phenomenally for like joint pain and anything like that. Like, creams are good, but what happened is I sold out, but I was like, man, I just spent the last year doing a bunch of R&D on CBD. I have a great source. I know how to make a great product. Let's take this to the market in its own company. I started a company called CBD Social. We opened up on King Street in Charleston. King Street is probably the most expensive shopping area in the whole South. If you go to Charleston, South Carolina, you know King Street. Okay. And yeah, we opened up like a 1,600 square foot storefront right on King, and absolutely just murdered it for about a year and a half. But what happened then is THC started creeping into the business. So the Delta 8, all these weird strains of THC started getting mixed into the CBD business. How does that affect me? It affects me by my clientele started changing from people who seeked health and wellness and like lifestyle change. It started being like people who wanted to get high. You know what I'm saying? So I chose to never sell the Delta or the THC filled products. And because that moment in time that was so profitable shifted to this, if I wanted to, keep doing what I was doing, I needed to go basically into the THC business, which I wasn't willing to do. So at that point, I closed up shop, closed out. Like, dude, a huge part of, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you do different things, a huge part of being able to survive is knowing when to pull the plug. Because people attach their identities to their business and they feel like they'll look like losers or failures if they pull the plug. No, dude, you're smart if you pull it at the right time because you're saving yourself a lot of money, a lot of pain. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
And that's what I did.
But it's hard.
Very hard. But
what happens? Okay, I've heard that suggestion many times, which is really hard. Pull out at the right time when it's not gonna be worth it, especially if you don't want to get into that.
That's right.
But what if you are already in the middle? Should you pull out or continue and then try to?
What do you mean in the middle?
In the middle of the mess, you didn't pull out on time, so you already invested money that you were not expecting, and you either pull out right now and lose whatever you put in, or try to save it and then.
Well, you got to be honest with yourself. You have to be unemotional, and you have to say if the destination still looks dark and cloudy and stormy the same way it did when I borrowed the money. I better cut my losses now.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you gotta. If you can't humble yourself in business, you're gonna get your ass kicked.
Ooh, it's hard because sometimes, well, especially in my case, sometimes I'm so stubborn in a way that no, I can do it, I can make it, I can do it, I can make it, and then, oops, I didn't do it, I couldn't make it.
Yeah, man. I mean, if are you talking about like small losses or big losses?
Well, I haven't. I don't know. I guess it all depends on
Yeah, I mean,
big and small. It depends on every different person.
Yeah, I mean, if you're making money, I think you can salvage things.
If you're making money, even if you're breaking even.
Yeah.
As long as you're not losing, right?
Yeah, it just depends on like what's your plan. Because if you're breaking even and there's no like, okay, here's the catalyst this year, this is what we're gonna do to get out of this position. Then I don't know if breaking even. It's like I always watch Shark Tank and I get amazed because these people come on and they'll throw out like, yeah, we did 5.7 million in sales, and then they'll say, gotcha. How much did you net? How much did you profit? What was your net revenue? We lost $890K. And I'm like, dude, these guys are playing a fucking game. They're playing the Silicon Valley monopoly money game where you spend to make, and then you either pull out or you are the 1% that hits. It's a game, dude. At the end of the day, you have to have a model where you make money and put money in your pocket. You have to. If you're not putting money in your pocket, you're what are you doing?
Yeah.
That. What are you doing?
No, I mean, yes. I mean, but it's tough. It's part of doing business.
But
you have to.
You got to challenge yourself, though. You know, it's like, hey, I know if I'm doing something this year and it's working, that I better be thinking about next year and what I'm going to do different. Because if I'm doing the same shit next year as I did this year, it ain't going to be fresh. It's not going to have that pop.
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So when you're moving and things are working, you better be thinking about how to either build on that or change, but the same.
Yeah, if you don't change, nothing's going to change, right? It's just
everyone's going to catch up to you. And the market will catch up to you.
Because the expenses are there.
Well, yeah, and there's other people who can see what you're doing. There are no trade secrets anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like you need to constantly be evolving, and if you're not pushing yourself enough.
good advice. I'm gonna take it.
Mm.
So what? What are you? What? Okay, so you closed that store.
That's right.
That was not long ago.
No, that wasn't long ago at all. That was 2024, and I started Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started Soundwaves, which we operate Soundwaves and Red Waves right now. I started that while we were there.
It's Soundwaves
and Red Waves, two different companies.
Okay.
Soundwaves is art and design.
Okay.
Red Waves is distribution and logistics management and web management. Like it's like
for
bands.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But Soundwaves designs everything that we do, and we also design things like album covers and tours, stuff like that.
All the designs that a band typically needs, and Red Waves does all the logistics that the.
It's basically a merchandise company.
Right. All the logistics to sell all the merch that company usually band usually sells.
Yeah.
So, but are you a graphic designer? Because I've seen the designs.
Nope, I'm not a graphic designer. So
they're
exactly.
Really cool.
So that's where I think the ability of like I said, I always want to challenge.
Yes.
So it started because this band, Whiskey Myers, that I was a fan of, one of my employees said, they don't have gig posters, which are the collectible prints for the shows. And I was a fan of the band, and I've been collecting gig posters for like 20 years. And I was like, what? Why don't they have that? That's ridiculous. I'm like, find out who their manager is. I'm like, he's like, what? I'm like, get us an email. I'm like, I want to email him. And he did. A guy who worked for me, his name was Jacob, gets me this dude Eddie's email, and I send him an email. I'm like, you don't know me. I'm like, consider me a fan. It's absurd that you don't have gig posters. To me, it's laziness. And I think that you're leaving at least $250,000 on the table year one, if not $500,000. And he responds, and he's like, oh, really? And he's like, who the fuck are you?
What, did you expect anything else?
Yeah. I said, I just told him, I said, I'm the guy who will make one for you and prove my concept.
Okay.
And I don't know how to make one. I don't know how to design one. But my mom's an artist. So from, in creativity, there's ideation, there's the idea, there's the concept. And then there's lines, right? A lot of times, people don't understand this always. A lot of times people who can put down the lines, they're not very creative. They're skilled.
Yes.
But they're not very creative.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
They know how to do the, what's it called? Photoshop and all the...
Yeah.
But they don't have that artistic heart to...
Yeah, to see the vision.
I've seen that.
So I was like, I need someone who can be that for me, because I can see it. I can see it. And I grew up watching, like I said, my mom's an artist. I grew up seeing how that side of the brain works. So I got a guy, and I was like, hey man, guy actually, I used to collect his work. I'm like, hey, I got this band. What do I got to do to make this happen? So we figure it out. And this dude Eddie's like, listen, dude, stop annoying me. He's like, send me something. And he's like, if we like it, we'll run with it with you. And he's like, if we don't, you can throw it in the garbage and lose my number. And I was like, cool. Like, people got to understand, like, that's what opportunity looks like. Opportunity isn't something that like, oh, I'm sitting here one day and opportunity is here. No, dude, you got to see it, and you got to go, you got to grab at it. Like,
seek for it.
Yeah.
But, yes, you have to. Sometimes opportunity does pass by when you're sitting, but...
Sure.
But you still have to stand up and get it, right?
Yeah, so. and sometimes you got to see through the trees to see the opportunities. So for me, it was like, okay, there's that, right? So they accept the first print. They love it. It does okay. right? It doesn't do well. It does okay. At that point, I'm thrilled. I'm where I believe every entrepreneur needs to start. I absolutely love and am obsessed with the idea that I am playing a creative role in a band, part of their imagery that I enjoy. So like I'm in that special place where when I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking about what's next, and I'm pushing ideas like, okay, I'm in, right? Like I'm in. That's where the opportunity is, right? It's like getting your foot in the door. So from there, I just kept pushing. And I was like, man, I'm telling you, the fan base needs to understand these things. You can't just put one out, and then you can't expect it to sell. So we started doing more, and it turned. It absolutely turned. The fan base started going nuts for them. And then we put out this one print. We call it Frogman. They have a song called Frogman. It's about like Navy SEALs. It's in like every freaking TV show, every movie. And we sold. I think we made 200 units at $100 a piece, and this was early on, and we sold them in 40 seconds. So we made 20 grand in 40 seconds. And at that time, I was like,
holy
we got something here.
Yes.
You know, and they were like, fuck, we got something here. You know what I'm saying? And then we just were focusing on collectibles. And then, you know, I built relationships with other bands. We did prints, but I'm like, dude, this print thing is the best training ground for selling, because how many people buy a collectible expensive print versus how many people buy a t-shirt? You know what I'm saying? The market for a damn t-shirt is 100x what a print is more. So I'm like, I need to flex the art and then say, hey, we need to get into the business of
t-shirts, apparel.
Exactly.
People that wear and buy again, and buy again, at least a few times a year.
And in music right now, the second largest revenue stream for bands is merchandise.
Really?
Yeah. Bigger than music. They make more money on merchandise than they do music.
Nowadays, or that's
nowadays
something?
Because you know, back in the day before MP3s and Napster and all that stuff, music was, you know, you had to buy the album to hear it. Now you got Spotify and all this stuff that kills. So touring is obviously number one. They make they make a lot of money touring, but merchandise is number two. So I mean, we're talking.
So every band, every singer, they have to sell merch. Otherwise, they're losing 40% of their revenue that they could be making.
100%.
Okay.
It's become a monster, and you got to understand it. If you're partnered with the right people, when a fan goes to a concert, it's like, you know, it's like someone going to Disney World. It's like when you go on vacation, you're like, oh yeah, I got my $2,000. Like it's already spent in your head. Like so, you know. This is their opportunity to buy product that they can't buy anywhere else. So they pay more for it. They're stoked. You know, it's a great environment to sell. So, you know, we really, really focused on.
So that's when you created soundwaves, and then
Soundwaves, and then we created red waves.
Red waves. I'm sorry. Sound waves and red waves.
Yeah.
And sound waves does the designing, and then red waves
does the clothing, merchandise,
the logistics to sell. So because you are in charge of, I mean, you pretty much are in charge of the merch that the band or the singer sells. But I mean 100%.
Yeah.
Because I know you do. When they go to a concert, you personally guys go over there, set up the tent, and sell the merch. You guys do that.
Yeah. So we do that now. But
okay.
Moving forward, you know, the question is that scalable to put someone on site? So you know, that's why logistics is important. Having stuff deliver on time. You know. That's what I'm focused on. I don't know if we'll ever be able to get somebody on, you know, the road with like 10 different bands, because they have to screen the individual. There's something with bands where you got to be a good hang, meaning like they're not just going to let any guy be around them on the road. They gotta like the person.
Yes,
so that's a hard thing. So but right now, we do that, and then we don't do it with another band, but.
So how does the other band
they've had a merchandise guy that we communicate with, and we say, okay, where does the stuff need to be, and
the band has someone
and
you guys connect with him and you send him all the merch, and then okay, well, at the end of the day, I would say it's also the band's decision, because that guy might be a friend of and they get along, and you come with us. We don't want any who.
Yeah,
and we pay you.
Yeah.
And just get in touch with them.
Yep.
And we approve the designs and all the merch, and you sell, and we pay you. Yeah, okay. It's not bad. It makes sense.
Yeah. So just the one thing, I guess, if people, like said, like are listening, like, you got the money part of business, but like I was saying, like being in that space of like, wow, I get to do this with Prince at the beginning. So now if you think about it, I emailed this guy, he says, who the fuck are you? Now the way that relationship has come full circle is that guy is now my partner. He's a minority shareholder. His band is my partner. We just designed their newest record. We finished designing their album cover, and we have input on everything all the way down to the music. So when you think about that, who the fuck are you, to now the look of...
it's
right?
Risk taker, right? Because it's a risk taker.
But
you always have to risk some...
But I'm catering to the curious child in me more than I am the guy who wants to make money. And if you cater to that curious child in you, and you understand how the game's played, that's where the magic is. You know what I'm saying? Let's say if I can make a $10 million selling toothbrushes, like, I wouldn't do it, because I don't want to wake up and think about toothbrushes every day. That's not fun to me.
Okay.
That's not
fun. So it's not, So find something you like, and it's better I'm gonna just put some numbers out there. It's better to do $500K a year on something you love versus $1 million on something you or not.
100%, because there's the cost of what you do, and then there's the personal and life cost. When you wake up in the morning and you're excited to work,
it's not work anymore.
No, it's not. And then your ideas create things, and because you're not like, okay, I gotta get in at what
Monday
time
again.
It's all stupid shit, right? And everyone tells themselves, oh, I love video games, or I love baseball, or all this shit. That can't be a job. Bullshit. You're just too much of a pussy to look into the gaps and find where you could be useful to that industry. It can be a job.
You know what? That's an amazing advice, because sometimes people are so good at one thing, but they don't know how to make that a business, how to live off of that. Like if you are a graphic designer, or if you are a gamer, I don't know, who knows, how do you take that to the next level where you can start making money off of that?
Do you know how I think you do it? Is you stop when you haven't done shit in life, and no one knows your name because it's associated with success. You need to stop thinking about what the entry level pay is, and you need to think about, dude, I'll fucking work for free to show this system, whatever it is, that I'm valuable. And if I don't get paid for a year, I don't get paid for a year. But I know that if I'm in this system, I'll smash it, because I live and breathe it. People got to stop worrying about getting paid when they haven't done shit. That's the damn problem. Like, you're worth nothing to the marketplace, right? You're worth nothing. So remind yourself that, but just be like, nah, I'm gonna be like that. That's how you get in, because when there's no cost associated with you, it's a lot easier.
I'm trying to kind of grasp at that, and but I've heard that I don't know if you knew who Zappos that brand that I think Amazon bought.
So Nick Swinmurn.
That was his name.
Nick Swinmurn. I could call him right now as a friend of mine.
Okay.
He started Zappos.
Oh, the first. Well, I'm talking about
the guy Asian guy.
Yes.
Talking about the Asian guy.
Yes.
The Asian guy came in
and bought off.
Yes, and then that went to Amazon. Nick Swinmurn is the guy who started Zappos, and he would go around to shoe stores and photograph shoes. Like that's what he did. That's what he loved to do.
What?
Yeah. We did a podcast with him. It was called The Startup Addict. You could look it up. And he's the founder of Zappos. He's the original founder of Zappos.
And he sold it to this guy.
The Asian guy. And he held on to a good amount of equity when the Asian guy came in. I don't know the Asian guy.
So when he was sold to Amazon,
there was an Asian dude who...
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one I was referring to. Yeah.
Yes. So he came in. He bought the majority of it. Nick hung on to I don't know what it was. 30%. Put it this way: enough. He owns part of the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, but that's what I'm saying. So when he was sold to Amazon, he got a share.
He got paid.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Because I know it was sold for like $1 billion.
Yeah, it was.
So even if he had 5%, I'm 1%.
Yeah, more than that. Yeah.
I know, but
yeah.
Oh wow! But anyway,
Absolutely.
This guy used to say had a slang where he follow your dreams and the money will come, will follow you.
Exactly.
So that's what you're saying. Just seek what you want to do in your life, and your value to the market share and the marketplace, and the money will follow. Money will,
Dude,
but
who wants to talk to somebody who isn't like energetic and into the shit that they're talking about? Like, if you are one of those people where people just like jump back with like, damn, his energy is nuts. They respect you and they want to listen to you. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, how the fuck can you be good at it in the long term? It's impossible. You don't like it. You wake up and you don't like what you do. How can you be good at it? You can't in the long term. You can get by. You can only murder stuff.
You're probably always dreaming of doing what you don't like and dreaming of what you wish you could be doing.
So how much focus is on what you're doing? Not much, because you're elsewhere.
No, yeah.
Like, it doesn't work that way, bro.
But it happens a lot.
It happens to most people.
Yes.
Because people are not confident enough in their own...
But what would you suggest to someone to kind of...
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. What's the other alternative?
What's the worst you could lose, right?
What's the other alternative? Doing what your parents want you to do, but you spend your life waking up every day not wanting to do it? How is that an alternative? Even if it pays the fucking bills.
Yeah.
How is that a way to live?
Don't be scared. It will pay off, right?
Like if you want to be good at something, I mean, that's the question. If you want to be good at something, you have to do what you love. You have to. But it doesn't look like I like baseball. I'm going to be a baseball player.
No,
I mean, you could be, right? But there's an ecosystem of baseball, of people who make money in baseball.
A lot of industries related to baseball.
Exactly.
That you can make money off.
Yeah.
And live and do what you like, which is talk about baseball.
That's right.
Anything really.
That's right.
Like you were in MMA, but not necessarily an MMA.
That's
fighter.
right. You got to challenge. Like, you can't wait for other people to challenge you. You got to challenge yourself. You know, and this is where I won't get it, but like faith comes into it, and the answers are all there. It's like, if you're not challenging yourself, you're not really living. You know, it's like you're kind of sleepwalking. Like, I mean, you are. You know, so if you're gonna wait for your teacher or your mom to challenge you, you know, then it's not gonna work out. it's not going to work out. When it comes down to your career, you have to be the one who's the motivator. And this is what I always tell people when I come up with ideas. Like, what are you doing? You have to be almost like borderline insanely optimistic to run your own business. Like almost crazy. It's like self-admittedly crazy optimistic because you see something that nobody else does.
No.
So you come off as a little bit wacky. That's okay. You have to be that. Because when everyone else is like, you're like, no. Follow me.
Yes.
I got this. It's faith.
It's faith. And that's true. And if you have a dream and you kind of try to, I don't know, tell even your closest friends or even family about it, they might even kill it.
They all do. I mean,
that's why you have to, I don't know, keep it and you go out and take that fear away. And when they kill. When they talk about, when you tell everyone else and they, I mean, sometimes, and I would say a lot of times, they literally kill that dream.
Well,
they cut out your wings.
Yeah. Well, you let them kill it, right? Because they try to kill it, and the way they try to kill it typically is in the name of be safe, go get a job at ExxonMobil or something, a corporate job that you're safe there. Oh, really? I'm safe there? When they have a down quarter and their stock goes down and they slash 20% of their work, I'm safe. Okay, no.
Safe.
Right. It's all relative now. Like at the end of the day, it's like if you want to opine and give me your opinion on what I should do, it's not going to affect me one bit because, when I say have faith, I don't want people to take that as like, oh, just blindly. No, you better do your research.
Faith along with hard work.
Yeah. Once you know something is like hitting your sweet spot inside and you've done the math and it makes sense,
go for it,
dude.
And go for it all the way, because you also have, like you say, it's not only about faith. That is, I mean, it could happen, but you have to. If you have to stay longer hours, do it. If you have to wake up early, do it. But you're working towards something that you want to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes all the sense in the world, but I'm trying to,
How old's your son?
He's 14. How old are you? How old are you, Sado? How old are you?
14.
Right. So I bet you his attention span isn't the best.
Yeah, no.
Right.
I mean,
right.
You just see that.
So when you're engaged in technology, a cell phone, online, all you're doing is giving your brain dopamine hits when you could be focused. That's it. That's all it is. There's an option on the iPhone where you could turn your screen to black and white. Most people don't know. If you turn it to black and white, it's just really? Black and white. You won't want to. It's fascinating. You won't want to look at it. It's like, put that down. But all these colors and the way they're done and the movement, it's dopamine.
Even the sounds. Email. Or not. That's a money sound, but
it all keeps you engaged, right? And then you're engaged in your phone, right? You're looking down, and you're not thinking about the shit that matters in life. You're thinking about what how these companies can monetize you and become a product.
That's what
for them to sell.
I mean, on social media, what we are pretty much. Well, a lot of people do make a lot of money on social media. But yes, I get your point.
But they don't make it by watching it. They don't make it by watching it.
Just control the timing.
I'm saying for young people, right? So people are watching this and they wanna actually do something. Get your head out your phone, right? Stop watching, fucking YouTube all day. And all this, ask yourself, how is that helping me? Outside of just filling time.
Amen.
That's true. Because
right?
you could, I mean...
That's the route to antidepressants. That's the route to not interacting with human beings in life. Your social skills, you have none because you're part of a screen. But the screen dictates you. You don't dictate it.
That's when the issue becomes... But and you know better because I'm thinking sometimes I do watch a podcast or things that are worth or good for me.
Absolutely.
But you know better when you're wasting your time on and just watching trash, or when you are really watching something that will educate you or make you better in a way.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean, the point is that, I talked to Jason. Jason's 26, right?
Yes.
Even that age group and below.
Yes.
They spent more time communicating with people on digital platforms than they did face to face, and that's fucked up.
They do.
100%, man. Everything has.
You do?
No, not always 100%.
I know you do. You know what? You're right.
That's not human.
No.
It's not human, but we think because it's easy, it's fast.
It's just there. It's just and it's easy.
But it's just there, right?
Yeah.
But then it turns into us. We're just there. Is that how you want to live your life?
No.
I'm just there.
No.
I don't. I won't.
We have to even work out even more on ourselves now that we have more distractions than what for people their age. They won't understand, but us, we do understand because we grew up without all this crap.
Yeah.
We
I grew up playing outside.
Yes.
And all this shit and learning social skills. Yes. Just because
without even knowing that was.
That's right.
It was,
but if you look at humanity across time, that's what happens.
Yes.
So this technology and this accessibility of everything is an experiment that we don't know the result of. But I can tell you it's not going to be good. It's already proven it's not good.
So this is going to get worse then.
Well, dude,
for people that decides to not to go out.
It's not decide. They don't know another way, right? Like, so somebody told me, I didn't know this, that they allow cell phones in school. To me, that's the most. I didn't know this until I said.
They do. Are you allowed to take your phone at school?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they do.
So that's insane. That's insane to me.
It is.
It's fucking wild because
they shouldn't.
You text the girl next to you to
instead of.
How could they not just take the phone away when you go into school? Like, it's the most. It makes so much sense. It makes so much. But why? Why would they allow kids who are supposed to be like learning?
Yes.
To do? I don't know. The question is I don't know. But I'll tell you what. Like, my kid and everyone says good luck.
No phone.
So he's 18. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Somehow
100%.
I do believe you. We'll see.
100%.
But I believe you.
He can kick and scream and do all he wants. He can go work out. He can go play sports. He can go, play with girls. You know what? At
the end of the day, that's it. Your kid will appreciate that.
Yeah. And all these parents who are like, oh, what if something bad happens? I don't know, my phone.
Well, just like
what happened before, if something bad happened, a lot less bad shit happened when it's crazy. But my point is it's harder, I think, for the younger generation because when you're raised a certain way in a certain environment where technology is literally part of you, you're unaware that is even a challenge.
Correct. That's what they know. They don't. That's what you. It's part of who you are.
Yeah.
But we as parents know better.
Yeah.
So we need to teach them and.
And when you're hiring people, like in a business standpoint, it's like that's the number one thing. Like if someone can't look me in my eye, shake my hand.
That's a good advice for.
You're fucking done. You're out. Like why? Because you're preoccupied with what? Or
even your attention. How long can we have a conversation for before you?
What value? Like what value do you bring? If you can't bring that.
Well, for younger generations, next time you go to and apply for a job, look them in the eye, shake hands.
100%, man.
When our next job interview, firm, what can I do?
How many successful people have you met that don't greet you that way?
No, you're right.
They
And
all do.
usually you can even
You
feel
feel it.
on the handshake, like,
Yeah.
oh, this kid, or
Like, I'm not a joke. I'm a serious.
Yeah, I'm
a
here.
serious person.
you know,
Yeah.
wow. I mean, so right now, you're running your. How many bands you have? Or
Probably on the soundwave side, like 9.
oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. On the red wave side, red waves started in March of 24. March of 24 years. And we have 2 right now. But to put that in perspective, like 2 is 2 is big at the scale that we're servicing them. 2 is 2 can approach 10 figures. I'm sorry, 9. I'm sorry, 10, 8 figures.
10. You were gonna say probably 10 million.
Yes, that's
right. That's what. That's good. Wow. There's always room for more. So if you have a band, if you are a singer and you need even advice, right? They can reach out on how to for merch, how to maybe
100%.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. You know.
No, but I'm trying to. If you need to, I'm gonna leave your link, your contact on the description. Sure. Just if you want more information, how to sell your merch, because keep in mind that you guys pretty much design it, and then sell it, and then you also sell online on their website, on the band's website, on your website.
Yeah, we build their sites, so
Okay.
it's built towards what we want to do.
So for more information, I will leave your contact, your link, your website link.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions in regards to that, reach out to John Fosco. Did I say that right?
That's right. Yeah.
John Fosco.
You got it. Yeah.
I said it right?
Fosco.
John
Yeah,
Fosco.
yeah,
Fosco.
absolutely.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know you were in so many industries. I wasn't expecting that.
My wife is always like, John, like, please don't let the day come when you're just gonna walk away from this. She's like, I'm like, I can't tell you that it won't, you know, like, because that's how I live. That's how I live my life. I gotta fulfill myself. I don't care if people recognize me as this or that. I don't care about that shit. I care about just feeling full.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, but we're going back to what you were saying of following that's who you are.
That's who I am.
And that's what you like to do. And if you eventually want to sell this company, you sell it for a profit and move on and find something else.
Yeah, it's not my identity. It's not who I am. It's what I do.
And then, but some people, like, I see myself running this business, Sophia's Findings, and making it grow. And I have other visions for it, but if that's what makes me happy, and go for it, right? Same for the point is don't stay somewhere you don't want to be at. Look for something that you like to be doing.
Yeah, and know that you don't want to be there before you leave, right? Because we all can have rash emotional reactions. Oh, I hate this. You know, like, if you know in your heart, like, dude, this ain't for me, save yourself some time. You know, unless it's in the situation where you're supporting a family, you're getting a paycheck, and it's like, okay, at that point, you need to get a job before you leave.
I see what you're saying. I mean, sometimes, in business, there are some days that you just want to throw the towel. Like,
oh, absolutely.
You know what? Just close it, sell it, whatever. I'm done. But yes, take it. I don't even need I only need 30 minutes, and then okay, no, I was kidding.
But you know what? When you have those throw the towel days, take yourself back 15 years and say, if I talk to myself, then would I be like so stoked to see what I'm doing now? And if the answer is yes, then you got to check yourself.
That's a great advice. You know what? Because right when you said to see yourself 15 years ago, I am not exactly, but I am. I wish I could be where I am.
Right.
That Hamid from 15 years ago.
You got to remind yourself.
So I'm like, you know what? Okay. And yes, it where a business comes with a lot of issues, with a lot of things, obstacles that you have to face. But that's how it's always gonna be. So you have to learn how to live with those. Otherwise,
you know what else is just like the way you described that?
What?
Life.
Yeah. Well, yes. You'll see it with kids, but you're already kind of expecting it and kind of getting ready for it.
Yeah. Don't expect anything to be easy, man. Anything of value is hard.
How is that the saying? There's no progress without struggle. Is that?
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
And it's true. And for anything you want to become better, you have to go through something that is hard.
You want to know what's interesting is I feel sorry, not in a condescending way, for people who haven't faced traumatic experiences. I feel, as opposed to, like, I feel a lot more sorry for them than people who have gone through traumatic experiences. Because when you go through things that are really hard, you come out on the other end and you have a greater sense of, vision and wisdom and all that stuff. But the people who haven't faced any kind of hardship, it's the end of the world if, their boss, Hamid, says, oh, you didn't do this the right way. Like, oh my God. Because they don't have any perspective.
Yes. And if you think about it, if we go to the basics of human, just to learn how to walk, you have to go through so much.
Oh yeah.
And be able to fall, and it happens to everyone.
Exactly.
And you're gonna fall, and eventually you're gonna start making your first steps and be like, wow.
Yep.
We don't remember that, but it happens.
I'm watching it right now. My kid is amazing. Yeah, like I tell my wife, you call it tummy time. You put the kid on his stomach and he tries to this, but like I'm like, no, let him struggle. I want to hear him struggle, not cry, not pain, but struggle, because like that means he's working, and that's exactly right. Like he gets stoked if he pulls his hand,
So that means that each of us have that. It's in ourselves to accomplish, go through struggle and accomplish things.
That's exactly right.
It's right there, but then somehow we forget, or the world kind of sinks us into, oh no, what if? Can you imagine a toddler telling the baby, no, don't try to walk. What if you fall? What if you...
Exactly. Dude.
But the baby doesn't have that capacity yet to, understand that, so he just walks. I don't care.
Fear,
it makes sense,
fear
right?
It makes total sense. And that's what I'm saying. It's like we let our surroundings, we let our surroundings do that to us. It paralyzes us with fear, thus holding us back from doing what we want to do. A baby wants to walk. He wants to crawl. He's going to crawl. He's going to walk because he hasn't been jaded by the world.
No.
So it's up to us to protect ourselves and our people to hold them.
And you know what? Ironically, on the other hand, we actually push or motivate our babies to walk. We don't, in the real world, when you want to do something that is hard, people tend to push you down. Oh no, and they cut off your wings before you even try to fly. Oh, that's only rich people, only these type of people. But when a baby wants to learn how to walk, people around push. I mean, especially obviously the father and mother. No, you could do it. You could,
right.
Yes. Oh, if we as human beings were able to do that to others, like, oh, I want to be a baseball player.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And instead of pushing him down,
Well, to a certain extent, you know, they say we all, if you look at your circle of 5 people you spend the most time with,
that's who you are.
That's exactly right, and that's to the point of, well, yeah, people will talk you down and cut your wings off, but not all people will. So examine your fucking circle, because if your circle is positive, optimistic, you know, here's the problem: we have old friends and this and that, and all. And I love and respect those people, but my priorities change. What I want from my life and my wife and my family changes. And if people aren't on my wavelength, I think it's, and this may sound bad, I think it's healthy to be selfish, because I'm here to serve my family and myself. So there could be my buddies from back home that I love, but we don't get down like we used to anymore, and I surround myself with people who support me and who can see what I want to see, and I see what they want to see, and you know what I'm saying? Because then it is that environment of, yeah, you can walk, let's go, you know, it's not the other way around. That's up to us.
I mean, at the end of the day, yes.
Yeah, you can't let the shit get to you.
Wow. Well, life is hard.
It is.
And it will always be.
Expected.
And sometimes, even for the people that want to achieve great things, the harder you are, the harder it is.
That's exactly
right.
100%.
So, but it's worth it. I mean, I haven't get there, but I want to, and I'm willing to take the risk.
Yeah, but there does not exist. The destination doesn't. It doesn't
where
exist.
Where is there, right?
Where is there?
Because my there could be. It's not the same as yours.
Right.
Okay.
So just be at peace with the unknown, right? And take you know, stock and pride in what you do, and know what you want, and then, you know.
Okay. Do what you love, and
then submit to the fact that you ain't the controller of this world. You're not in control.
That's true.
Just do the best. Just do what you can.
Wow. Amazing, man. Believe it or not, it's been over an hour and a half. It didn't feel like that, did it?
No. That's what I'm saying. This stuff's good conversation. You know,
yes,
it's
but I wasn't expecting you being in so many industries. That's fascinating. So many, you know.
You know what's crazy about it, man, is like there's good fights on. They're in the UK today. They start at 1:00, and I love the fights.
Right. That's right. Today's Saturday.
Yeah, great fights. But like all the guys who are running shit, these are guys that used to beg me for $500 from the companies that, you know, I held them. These are guys that, like, I was here, they were here, and now these guys. And God bless them. I'm truly happy for them. They're making 10, 20 million a year, you know, like, you know, managing, you know, the cream of the crop. Good, and it's crazy just watching and just being like, yeah, I was there and I chose to give it up, but I don't have any regret because I gave it up for a purpose. You know what I'm saying? And I'm happy for them.
You know, that's the best way to. Otherwise, you're only gonna hurt yourself. If you think otherwise, like you know, envy or feel bad, you know, it's not. Yeah, that's the best way. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
man.
dude, for sure. Thank you, man.
Thank you for your time. I know it's great to know you even more.
Yeah, absolutely, man.